Welcome to the Millennial Mic.
I'm Ali.
I'm Joe,
And this is the Millennial Mic.
Content for us, by us. So, Ali, I know you are especially excited about today's episode.
I am.
Well, today's guest is none other than Grammy-nominated artist, philosophical thinker, producer, proud father, and the inevitable winner of Shensea's Lighter Challenge, Protoje. With a career spanning over a decade, he is at the forefront of the movement of the resurgence of conscious, organic music in Jamaica, dubbed as the Reggae Revival. His Reggae Revival repertoire features 5 studio albums, including The 7-Year Itch, The 8-Year Affair, Ancient Future, and A Matter of Time. His latest release, In Search of Lost Time, was described by Fader magazine as a masterful culmination of everything the artist is and represents. Its lyrics are honest and sharp, and its production is indicative of tried and true collaborations while bolstering Jamaica's emerging class of producers. So, Protoje, welcome to the Millennial Mic.
Hey, bless, good to be here. How are you?
We are good. So happy to have you.
Diggy, thank you so much for joining us on the Millennial Mic. As you may know, every Millennial Mic guest is asked a few warm-up questions to help our audience get to know who you really are. Are you up for that?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. So, well, since it's you, we want to know what is your favorite song, meaning your own catalog, and what is your favorite song from another artist. And feel free to give us a sample.
Favorite song from my catalog is Impossible. I mean, like it changes, it varies. It's hard to, out of 80 songs, pick one or whatever. I mean, like, I don't right now. It's Deliverance from my new album. That's the best I can do.
Love it. What about from another artist?
Any artist?
Any artist, any genre. Something that maybe just come to mind as like a song you really love that speaks to you.
Tupac, Smile. Tupac and Scarface, Smile.
Love it.
Okay. So, are you ready to give us a sample of either one of those two?
I see this life I live and I look on it like, oh my. Time fly, yo, 10-year, drop arguments in 09. Fly my family to the Grammy, yo, God, remember me trying. That's a part of me I cannot delete, keep the shit in my mind. Hey, yeah, that's so much delivered.
Love it. No, I've been trying to get Ali to sing on the podcast for the longest time, right? It's a running thing. And she made me a promise that when you come on this show, she would sing Blood Money with you. Are you up for it?
I can't believe I'm going to do this.
Well, I'm up for it. Is she up for it?
Think you ready? We're not watching no face, make no more party. All right, Diggy, have to sing the rest.
All right, let me count you guys off because she's trying to back out of it. 1, 2, 3.
We not watch no face back no more.
Pardon. Enough
drugs money there.
I'm so tone deaf that I cannot even hold a beat.
No, you hold it fine. Just need to continue, man. Come again.
All right. 1, 2, 3, and
start. Me start.
Oh, all right.
Me start. Me now watch no face back no more. Pardon. Enough drugs money there.
Cherry garden. Enough individual society applauding. You can ask anybody whether they get this starting.
All right.
But no politician taking donation. So enough criminal will never see a station.
Hey. Go on now.
That's it. No, man, we can't sing the whole song.
All right. Yeah, go on, go there. She do her thing. She almost make it to the chorus.
Almost. No, man, give us the chorus, Ali. Give us the chorus. Ready?
What part is the chorus? I feel like is the police cancel operation is the chorus?
Yeah.
So it goes, when the kickback coming, the government delighted. So police cancel operation.
Hey.
Cause no real bad man a go station. So if you check the situation, blood money run the nation.
All right.
Come take a look in at Jamaica.
So we just had to get her started, she have
Yeah,
it,
man,
Man,
now
she
she
have
came
it.
nice, she kick into gear now.
I literally was rejected from choir at age 4. I just don't know how Jo Marie have me singing on this podcast.
Mission accomplished.
I'm gonna have to auto-tune the recording after this. Thank you, Diggy, for indulging us. Now that Jo Marie has gotten her wish, which for the record will never happen again. So we
Well,
want to know.
I'm glad it was me.
Of course, it had to be you. All right, tell us something that people wouldn't know about you that has nothing to do with music. I know that's such a weird question, or a hard one, rather.
I really like to jog.
You really like to jog.
Yeah.
Vibes.
I love running. I wanted to be a long distance runner before I became an
Really?
artist. Yeah.
What stopped you?
Smoke too much marijuana.
Well, I guess that's a reasonable reason. Can't be going into
Reasonable.
Olympics with that.
Yeah, not at all.
You need to freeze up.
So the final warm-up question we have for you is, what's something about fatherhood that completely took you by surprise?
I'd have to say, just how much toll it takes on a woman, I guess. Like first physically, then mentally, and then the time after, and just the time between, like in that first 6 months is like crazy amount of. It's like not only the 9 months that the child is being cared for, but just like even the first year after, it's like attached to them, and it's just amount of time spent. I have more of an appreciation for what it really means.
Yeah, definitely. And even and when it comes to, you know, what that experience has been, how would you say it has impacted or shaped your perspective on your music in any way, shape, or form?
Um, in a roundabout way, just understanding that have somebody that I help to bring into this world, and that I have to dedicate more time to. So I have to be more efficient in how I spend my time doing my music and being more direct. So it kind of just make me sharpen up more, and even be more precise in my movements and actions.
Okay, great. I love that you spoke about the impact that fatherhood has had on, or fatherhood has even on mothers, right? And you do prioritize so much working with women and signing female artists. Do you think that that's influenced by your fathering of a daughter, or do you think that fathering a daughter is just kind of in keeping with your trajectory of prioritizing women and ensuring that they
Yeah.
have the space that they deserve?
It definitely wasn't because of my daughter. I mean, this was all before. You know what I mean? Like I did sign Leela and Savannah before, but
Yeah.
I just don't know. Like it's just a natural thing, and I grew up around a lot of women, and for me it's just natural to work, and the Leela and Savannah thing just kind of happened organically. I didn't plan, oh, let me go out and sign two women.
Right.
Yeah.
So one of the things that we realized, and one of the observations we made, is that time plays a key role in terms of even just the title of your album. So we know we have In Search of Lost Time, Ancient Future, A Matter of Time, 7 Year Itch, and the list goes on. How does time and the notion of time influence your music, and how does it affect your creative process in any way?
How would I say this now? I would say that I always thinking about it because it's the only currency we can get back, and I think that when you master your use of your time, like the world becomes a much much more manageable place, and you achieve a lot more. So I'm always thinking about what I'm giving my time to, and at the same time, what does it mean I'm not giving my time to, and trying to find the correct balance. I think is the key thing. for me. So the making albums about this kind of just reminds me to always be conscious of that fact. And I guess I make music about it actually because it's something that I think about a lot.
Mm. I actually love that we started the session with Blood Money as much as it was desperately embarrassing for me to sing. Because we know or we've observed that you don't just write to write. Like you don't just write music to write music. You write it for a purpose. Can you talk to us a little bit more about how your artistry has evolved in that way to have a message like the message that Blood Money has, to talk about things like you talk about in Search of Lost Time? How did you become that artist, and what really influences you in that way?
Just life, yeah, man, and just seeing things and listening to great artists that I love growing up and seeing how they approach music. And just my mom always is like, you need to have some sort of social consciousness, and you need to always be making reference
Like
to
your
real
mom.
life. And she she
Yeah.
she always presses that. And then obviously it's like when something inspires me to speak or when I get an idea, I just go with it. And sometimes I'm in the mood. I've been talking about, like, society and it's ill. Sometimes I just feel to speak about what's going on in my chest, and I just, as I said, just go with whatever strikes the inspiration.
Yeah.
And when you speak about, going with what's in your chest, going in terms of a social consciousness, do you find it easy to do that? Do you get a lot of pushback? Or is it one of those things where, you're going to speak your mind regardless of what other people think, and so you stand in that truth firmly and confidently?
Yeah, I mean, I just, my main thing is, the thing that guide me with music is that I just feel like when I get the inspiration, if I don't use it, then the inspiration is going to go to somebody else. You get me? And like for me, I just want, when something come to me, I just like make sure say me use it up, and honor whatever came to my mind, cause I just trust it.
Yeah. Diggy, so many people talk about this new wave of reggae music that you kind of birthed or started, or put into motion. Do you feel that that movement is still new? And how are you enjoying being in such amazing company in this movement, whether it be through, your brotherhood with Chronic, or Leela and Sev and Naomi, and where do you think the movement is at now?
It's just keep evolving. It keep adding. It's like when you cut if your grass don't cut. It's like if you're there every day and you see it, like you probably don't know it growing back. But if you leave a week and come back, you'll be like, yo, how this looks. So it's like 3 years ago there wasn't Lila Ike, there wasn't coffee. You
Yeah.
understand? There wasn't all of these new things. So it's an additional, how do you say, just keep evolving, and more new acts and more sounds are coming and more
Mm.
interpretations of the music. So when you look on, like as I said, Leela, Seth, Coffee, Tess, Royal Blue, it's still the sound is still evolving and acts are evolving. And then even when you look on me or Chronics, Della Move or Cool as a Breeze, or same so or whatever, it sounds much different than what ancient future sound like or chronology sound like. So it's like it just keep evolving and changing, and I'm definitely glad to be you know in like being here to, what I would say, to witness all of this and to play a role in it.
Amazing.
And with such a key role that you've been playing, walk us through the journey from Saint Elizabeth to the Grammys, and what have been some of the peaks and the valleys of your career that you think young musicians and by extension creatives can really learn from?
um um 1 second. I think it's just been, for me, it's like coming from where I come from, nobody don't really make it in a music business like that. So it's like
Mm.
it was like, I guess, a long shot, but it is for everyone. And I just feel that the hardest thing for me was patience and to accept that nobody owed me anything. You know, I just always felt, oh, I'm good, so I have to get a break. Like I must get a break because I'm so dope and I'm this and I'm that. And it's like after a while, it's like when it wasn't happening, I was like, you know, why isn't it happening? Yo, people don't want to see me. And it's like just find every other reason except yourself. And it's just when I really look into myself and say, yo, I can work smarter, I can work harder, I can be more efficient, I can find the angle. It's on you to find the angle and to find the way. And once I really put the responsibility on myself, that's when it really started to happen for me. And once you learn that lesson and you realize that it make a benefit and you work and you progress a little further, is then you start to get addicted to it and it keep flourishing and just start to grow much quicker.
And I think what's interesting is that when you speak about that accountability and that self accountability, in a recent interview, you mentioned that complacency is the worst thing that can happen to an artist. And I think that one of the things that can contribute to that is lack of accountability in terms of saying that, hey, you have a role to play in your development and in the way in which you move. So we want to know, what can artists do to avoid that complacency and ultimately leave a lasting impression?
Um, just the first thing is to not think that you're going to be relevant and to be the topic of discussion for forever. Once you get that out of your mind, and no matter how good you are, your time must come and pass. Then you realize that this is not um the time isn't it comes back to the time. It's like the time isn't promised, so you have to be making best use of it. So for me, every year I go into music thinking, well, it just feel like my first year or my last year. It don't feel like anything in between. It feel like this is the only thing I have is this year. So I treat every year like last year is gone. Like last year don't matter to me. Like I don't want to hear about being nominated for a Grammy in 2019. Like it don't carry any weight to me anymore. It's just past. Meaning if I stop the music right now today, that still exists. You understand? So it don't make a difference. So for me, it's like every year is a new year, and I think that has always let me remain sharp. And the next thing too is new artists, new hungry artists around you. Like you get to feels like we're putting out the first project. You feel the anxiety, you feel the fears that they feel, how much it matters to them if it works or not, and that kind of just seeps into you as well, and it becomes a part of you. So there's a lot of stuff I do to keep myself very, very hungry and mentally disciplined.
Mm. I guess this is probably a good kind of wrap up question. But for the millennials who are listening to this episode, or the young people who really want to be, maybe if not in your shoes, in similar shoes, who want to be as successful, what was the advice that you wish you had gotten when you were in their place, or that you could share with them that would help them in building up that discipline that you talk about?
Um, wow, the advice I wish I got earlier.
Yeah.
Um, I think that's a good question. I feel like the advice I wish I got earlier was um which advice did I wish I got earlier? No, just to let's say to make sure that when it is you're working on your um oh, when it is you're working on your craft is to one is like you have to take the craft extremely seriously, but not take yourself too seriously,
Mm.
right? Like not to think that you have to just be free in your creation and not feel like you need to be held to any standard or anybody's vision of what your career should be. I think I've always been very independent in my thought process, but at the same time, like coming out in Jamaica, being a reggae artist, is like you'll feel that you have to portray a certain image and you have to sing about certain things. Where I just feel like creatively, you should never be bound to anything. Like you need your creativity doesn't belong to anybody, hardly even you some of the times. So it's like you just need to give it free reign, and when you do that, you will find that it's like a blossom and find ways to carry it that even your mind wouldn't be able to equate or to decipher, you know.
Absolutely.
And I know we said that was the last question, but something just kind of occurred to us. One of the things that's really distinctive about you is you have an aesthetic that is very keen on the visualing and how things look together. And we just want to know, what drove that very intentional and evidently very intentional decision to show up in that way and to create arguably a new way of doing things and a new way of creating, especially in Jamaica.
Just coming out the time I came out, I just felt like, social media is starting to kick off a lot. Um, um, Facebook in its prime in Jamaica, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, all these things, and all of these things are visual. Are ways to visually represent the music. So I was like, all right, I have to be on this wave. Have to make sure that I find other ways to bring attention to the music. So whether it be my collaboration with Taj when I just started out, and his all of his artworks used to bring a lot of attention to my music and my music to his art, and then starting to put a lot of focus on on the visual part of it, whereas like somebody may see a video and be like, whoa, what is this? I need to listen to this. So you give yourself lots more chances to connect to people. Maybe someone doesn't get to hear your song on radio, but they're on Instagram and see somebody, and you give your fan base things to share. You arm them, you're giving them ammunition, because that's really your PR, as the people who support your music. So
Absolutely.
essentially giving your PR assets. Here are 10 visuals from my album for you to share now. So a
Yeah.
protege, person who supporting music now, can share this today and be like, oh my God, I'm feeling this, and share this tomorrow, and just have more and more content to provide to people. And I think that's a thing that definitely played a huge role in my music really connecting the way it has.
Yeah, and what we really appreciate is the fact that being that intentional and knowing that you look at it from as a matter of engaging with the fans, engaging with your support systems, and making it easier to share their love for you across their respective social media channels is really cool. So we have in terms of like some closeout questions that really just kind of drive home, the mission of what we're trying to accomplish here on the Millennial Mic and
The manual.
the manual that we're doing. And so the first one really is just understanding the importance of mentorship and whether or not you have found in your experience, both personally and professionally, if what role has mentorship played for you, if any.
Um, could you repeat the question?
Right, no problem. So, what we want to know is really, has mentorship played a key role for you, whether personally or professionally?
Definitely, definitely. I mean, without that, I wouldn't be where I am today with some great mentors, and I continue to get great mentors and learn more. I think without that, without people like that to bounce ideas off and make sure that, or even to bring me back down to earth, or tell me that, yeah, you were wrong in this situation, or you approach it this way, or here's
Yeah.
some more wisdom, or here's this opinion, or my take on it. Like, I live for these things, and I pride myself on having like people that I can get true, meaningful, and critical advice from. And I think that that's a very important part of my development and just people's development in a whole. Like, I think if we paid more attention to proper mentorship, we'd have better industries in every field, I think. But it's a two-way street.
Yeah.
It takes the youth to listen, and it takes the experience to teach, you know what I mean? And obviously there's ignorance of youth and arrogance of age. And it's like is like those two things coming close in the middle can really help both parties a lot.
Absolutely. If you had to pick like your favorite resource, or it could be like a website or a book or anything like that that you're using right now, or just generally like something that's really driven your becoming, what would that be?
Just one book.
It could be a book, it could be a website, it could be a film, anything.
Could be
An
all of the
album.
above.
That you said did what?
Really drove like your becoming to who you are.
Well,
I know that one is tough. I struggle with that one.
I
We
think
ask every guest these three questions.
I think if I had to pick one article, one piece of thing that really changed my thinking and philosophy, it'd be The Art of Worldly Wisdom by Baltasar Gracian. I think it's like a 18th century book, Spanish writer, and it really, really influenced me the way how I navigate through the world. And I have it. I'm looking at it's actually in front of me right now because I'm going on a trip today, and I just took it up because I
Amazing.
always carry it with me, and it's tattered now, but I bring it with me everywhere. So I would say that possibly just off the top of my head.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. I also walk with The Prophet by Khalil Gibran pretty much everywhere I go.
Dope. I just lent that to someone the other day.
Yeah, it's awesome. All right. So as we wrap up what has been an amazing interview, Diggy, thank you so much. How can people find you on social media or your website? Or I mean, pretty sure most of our listeners follow you already, but if you could just share that info with everybody who may be new to your music and work, that would be awesome.
Yeah, it's just Protoje, Protoje at everywhere that
Follow
there's
him,
that.
people, everywhere.
Yeah.
Especially on Twitter.
Yeah, we love your tweets. Diggy, we can't thank you enough for being with us, and thank you to our audience for spending time with the Millennial Mike. As always, don't forget our weekly mentorship giveaway. Follow us on Instagram and Twitter to enter, or email us at bookings@themillennialmike.com for your chance to win a mentorship session with none other than Protoje. Like, comment, subscribe. Tell us who you want to hear from, what you want to learn about, and whether or not Millennial Mike is hitting the mark.
So one of the things right before we go that we're going to ask for your help with is that at the end of the show, we normally say,
I'm Ali.
I'm Joe. And you would say,
I'm Protoje.
Yes!
You got it right.
And this has been.
And this is the Millennial Mike. But that was just a test. To be fair, that was just a test. So we'll take it one more time from the top.
I'm
One,
Oh,
two,
okay.
we'll
Once
count
you
it
count
down.
it out,
Count it
I'm
down.
so bad at following instructions.
1, 2, 3.
I'm Ali.
I'm Joe.
And this is Protoje.
Hey! And this has been the Millennial Mike. Thank you for listening to the Millennial Mike. Don't forget to visit our website at www.themillennialmike.com. See you next time.